So come to what we call samastiti, some traditions call it tadasana. So just to help us get in position, we start with the feet together, we make a V, and then we tread the heels out. So we want to think about the feet being under the hips. And just take a moment or two to think about your feet, because they are your support. They're supporting the whole of your body, all of your joints. Just look down at your feet to check that they are straight. And then think of them, when I say spreading and widening, I don't mean that you drop the arches. So spread your toes as much as you can and slightly bring your weight onto the outside edges. Because as we get older, we tend to curl the feet in. This drops the arches. So just reminding the feet to come to the outside edge helps the arch to lift. And then think about your weight, where your weight is placed over your feet. So you might like to just rock forward and back until you come to the middle point. So you're not too far forward over your toes, you're not too far back over your heels. And then come side to side. So we're just exploring balance and the feet. And then have the knees are not locked. And then think about your pelvis and your hips. So very commonly, particularly for women, often we stick our pelvis forward because we've had babies or we've been wearing high heels, and then this becomes our default posture. So we just want to remind our posture to come back to neutral. So I always think it's a good idea to take one hand to the pelvis, the other to the lower back, just to tilt the pelvis forward and back, isolating the pelvis so that's all that's moving, it's not the whole of the body, and then come to that neutral place. And then think about your ribs. So your rib cage, I'm going to take my top off actually because that's easier for you to see if you are looking at the screen. Think about your ribs lifting but without strain. So you're not collapsing over your diaphragm, but equally you've not got strain or tension here. It's just a gentle lift. And then think about the heart lifting. So you're opening the front of the body. And then we're just going to roll the shoulders 2 or 3 times. Bringing the shoulder blades together. Just to release the top of the body. And then release the arm so the middle finger is in line with your trouser seam or the middle of your leg. So we're not encouraging the shoulders forward by bringing the arms forward, but it's just a gentle opening of the shoulders. Because when we've been ill, we tend to hunch over, and also using screens, of course. And then just nod the head back, nod it forward a couple of times, and then tuck the chin into the chest. So you're thinking of lengthening the back of the neck. Close your eyes and just feel how this feels somatically in the body. Does it feel weird maybe because you're not used to holding yourself correctly, or because the body wants to curve inwards? In which case we are working on muscles also to help us to get back to a more healthy posture. And then breathe in through the soles of your feet up to the heart on the in-breath. And then breathe down through the torso, out, down through the legs and out through the feet. So just breathe like that a few times, feeling that the feet are grounding you, but above the waist, you are lifted up to the sky. So there's a feeling of being grounded below the waist and a feeling of lift and lightness above the waist. So there's a very famous phrase in the Yoga Sutras, Sthira Sukham, and it means that any posture we take, including Tadasana, should have a quality of sweetness and relaxation, but also alertness. So there's no strain, but equally we're not going to sleep, we're alert as well. So now we're just going to start doing some standing stretches. So we're going to inhale, lifting the arms up, and then we're going to chant the palms back down. Om. In your own breathing rhythm, your own pitch inhale. Om. Do that 3 times more in your own breathing rhythm and your own pitch. And just come back to Tadasana again when you've finished. And then we're going to think about the pelvis, because when we think about posture, pelvis is very important. So I'd like you to take your hands to your waist, and we're just going to hula hoop our hips. But what you're trying to do is to isolate this area, the pelvic area, so the upper body and the legs are not moving too much, although the knees are bent. And you can take the navel to your spine as you do this, just to support the lower back. So just a few times in one direction, and then hula hooping in the other direction, circling the hips. And it can be helpful actually to look at yourself on your screen, because that helps to make sure you're not kind of moving the whole body. It just helps you to observe that you are isolating the hip area. And this is also helping to mobilize the lower back. And then come back to center. Now again, we're going to think about our feet, but we're thinking about feet and balance. A bit later, we'll be coming to Rikshasana, the tree posture, but we're just going to start by thinking about our feet. So you can take your hands out to the side if that helps you balance. I'd just like you to toe and heel, toe and heel. And if it helps you, find a spot on the wall or the floor that you can look on to help you with your balance. And as you come onto your toes, you might like to come right up, pushing the front of the foot forward. It's really good for working the feet as well, just waking up the feet. And then come back to Samasthiti, close your eyes, pause and rest in standing Shavasana. Always remembering we rest between activity, particularly when we are transitioning to recovery. But in any case, it's really helpful to rest between movement and asana. And we're going to do a little bit more movement with the feet. So we're going to take a comfortable stride forward with the right foot. Keep the hips facing forward. And then lift the left heel. Bring that left heel back down and lift the right toes. Bring the right foot back down. Lift the left heel. Left foot comes down. Right foot lifts up. Right foot comes down. So you're healing and toeing. So just try this a few times. Keep your focus in your feet and also focus on something to help you with your balance. You can take your arms out if you need to help you with your balance. Also might feel those thigh muscles in the front leg working, as well as the hamstrings in the back leg. And remember, you don't have to wait for me to stop. You listen to your body. Anytime you want to come back out, bend the right knee and then come back. And stand in Samastiti. Again, just close your eyes, come into your body, come to your breath. And just let yourself rest for a few breaths, restore in this present moment. And then we're going to take this to the other side if you would like. So take a comfortable step forward with your left foot, hips facing forward. And then this time we're going to lift the right heel, lower the right foot, lift the left toes, lower the left foot. Right heel comes up and down, left toes come up and down. And do alternate your legs if you need to make it comfortable. And just as we did on the other side, just roll the feet up and down, feeling that connection with the feet on your mat. And again, you might like to just take the navel to the spine slightly, just to protect the back and just to begin to wake up the core muscles. Coming back to Samastiti when you're ready. So bend the left leg and come back. Again, just take a few breaths rest. Notice the aliveness and energy in your body. Feel the energy in your hands. And the breath is a good guide. So we work a lot with the breath, but if the breath ever becomes forced or ragged, it means it's too much for your system and you need to rest. So that is actually a good way to know if you've done enough. But that was also a very good warm-up for us doing a very simple warrior. We're going to do warrior one. So again, on the right side, just take a comfortable stride forward with the right foot. And as you do this, the hips might go to the side slightly, bring them forward. And what we're going to do is to bend the right knee slightly, but don't have the knee coming too far over. You don't want it coming over the toes. You want it in line with the two middle toes. So if you're not sure what I mean, I will just get into vision here. So my knee's not coming forward like that. That will damage the knee. It's vertical to the ankle. So just have a check in. That makes sense. And then your back leg is strong. So you want to think about that left heel coming really down strongly and supporting you. So all we're going to do is take our hands to our heart. And we're going to inhale and lift up. Exhale and we straighten the leg. We're going to do this 3 times with the breath. So breathing in, lifting up, we bend the right leg. Back leg is strong. Exhale, hands to heart. The leg straightens. Inhale, bend the right knee, stretching up, back leg strong. Exhale and straighten once more. Inhale, up. Exhale, down. dropping the arms and bringing the front leg back. Again, just standing and resting now. And observe if the right side feels different from the left side. Observe how the body's feeling. Remember, if you need to rest now, you can. Otherwise, we'll take this to the other side. So if you would like, take a gentle stride forward with the left leg. Bring the hips to face forward and then bending that left knee. Just check again that the knee is in line with the ankle. So you're not taking that bend too far forward over the foot. The hips are centered. Hands to heart. And then straighten the knee. So we're going to inhale, bend the knee and lift the arms. Exhale, hands back to heart, straighten the knee. Inhale, stretch up, bend the knee. Back leg strong, exhale and release. Once more, inhale up, back leg strong. Exhale, navel to spine if you like, exhale and release. And then when you're ready, bring the left foot back and then just shake out your legs and maybe do some shoulder rolls and just move to get yourself comfortable. So just take kind of any movement you would like, however the body's feeling, just shake it all out. And with that said, we're going to do a little bit of shaking now, if you would like. So come back to Samastiti. Feet under hips. Lips comfortably lifted. Shoulders away from the ears. Pelvis in neutral. We're going to start by bending the knees and then just bouncing gently up and down on our feet. Remember, if this is too much for you, don't do it, or any time you get tired, then please relax. And then we're going to start to introduce the upper body too and the arms. And then we can do it a little bit faster, and we're shaking. So this is one of the best things we can do for the nervous system because it really helps to release any pent-up tension. Helps to release cortisol and adrenaline. And it helps with trauma release. It is a trauma release exercise. So just do it for as long as you would like. I've got a friend who used to shake in Bali. There was what they called a shaking guru. And she would go, and a group of them would go, and they would shake for an hour. But I think that must be pretty exhausting. So we're not going to do that today, you'll be pleased to hear. And remember, you can stop shaking at any time. And then come back to Samastiti, close your eyes, and just feel the aliveness in the body, because that's really woken up prana, universal life flow energy is really beginning to circulate now. It's helping to release any blocks. So just feel that aliveness. And then we're going to do one more posture. We're going to do the tree posture. Is that all right with everybody? You're not too tired? Great. Thanks, Mary. Right. Okay. So remember in the tree, which we've been practicing for quite a while, I always suggest you come to a wall or something that you can hold on to, like a sofa. So I'm going to suggest that we start holding support with our right hand because it helps if we're all working on the same side or moving on the same side. And all you're going to do to start is to lift the left foot over the right. And for some people, that's enough balance. But do find your drishti, your spot, or something you can focus on to help you with your balance. And then if you're feeling confident enough, you're going to lift the instep of that left foot onto the right inner thigh. Hoping you've not got slidey trousers. And then you're going to bring the palms together, but knowing your support is there if you need it. And then from this, if you would like to lift the arms up and over, you can. Keep focusing on your spot and do know that your support is there if you need it. I always think somebody in yoga should invent trousers with grips on the inside thigh so that when you do these balance postures, your foot's not slipping. Let the mind become still. Try not to put any pressure on the knee. The foot should be higher. And then when you want to come out with grace if you can, so you're not actually falling out of the posture. And then come back. When you come back to Samasthiti, just take a moment or two before we do the other side, just observing if one side feels different from the other. Without judgment, just curiosity. And then we're going to come to the other side. So this time, left hand to the left wall or sofa. Come close enough that if you need it for support, you're not kind of falling into it. And then this time, we're going to lift the right foot over the left. Find a spot to focus on. And then when you feel comfortable, lift that left inner sole onto, the right inner sole of the foot to the left inner thigh, above the knee so you're not pressing on the knee. And then bringing the palms together. You might find it easier to balance on one side than the other, which I am at the moment. And then if you like, you can lift your hands up and over your head. Sometimes it's nice to keep the arms apart actually. That I think helps with the balance. But you can choose whichever position you would like to be in. You can keep the hands together at your heart, together over your head, or apart over your head. And again, when you come out with a little bit of control rather than falling out. Now, in a minute, we're going to do some cat sequences, but I'm going to suggest that you come back to your mat and you lie down in Shavasana and you have a rest just for a moment or two.